All right, so let's talk about the only real good show of the week, and then we'll talk about everything else.
All right.
So,
which one are we talking about?
We're going to AEW first.
You're going to do AEW first, okay?
Because it flows better.
Yeah.
So AEW started with a great 10-bell salute. It was actual 10. It was Dong. They had the entire roster out there. It wasn't about factions and heels. In the center of it was the wife and the two kids. -1, I guess is what they call him. Brodie Lee Jr. Mm-hmm. He's -1, and the little one.
Must be a big Slipknot fan.
So, -1 kind of he was wearing the mask the whole time. He kind of had that look like he didn't really know what was going on. You know, the kid's like 6, I think.
Yeah.
And the baby had no idea. The baby, you could hear the ringing was hurting his ears.
Yeah.
And then at about toll number 8, some fans started chanting Brodie, and it got like hushed real quick. Like someone was like, "No, not the time."
Remember,
or
the 10-bell salute is meant for silence. If you, I hate to cut you off real quick.
No, it's fine.
I hated CZW, but they did a tribute when Eddie Guerrero died, right? Because I guess Danzig or a couple of those other guys knew them, and watch the clip on YouTube. It's awesome. They're doing the salute, and some guy in the back screams something. I don't know if it's like "fuck Eddie" or something. And you hear Zandig just get on the mic, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of my building." He's like, "I pay the rent on this place. I pay for the production trucks. I will give you your $25 for your ticket back at the ticket booth. Get out of my building. Do not be in here right now, because I will come through this ring and kill you." Awesome clip. It's one of the best things that they ever did, and it's unfortunate, again, it's the death of a man that they're trying to get across.
Right. All right, so then they did this tribute video from Moxley, which... There were times during the show that I am not too proud to bet that I almost shed a tear on. And this one, did you watch the Moxley one?
I saw some of the recap for the Moxley one. You think Moxley and Seth are just broing it up since both their wives are knocked up?
Right? And, you know, the whole thing was about... The biggest thing I've learned from the death of Brodie Lee is he was family first. It was 100% about his family. And the clip, Moxley's like... All you could tell was like, being a father is the best thing you'll ever do. There's nothing that can compare to it. And Mike's like, "Nah, man, I'm good. I'm gonna have my beers on a Saturday night." And Moxley basically said, "And now he doesn't get to hear me say you were right."
My son is 3. Being a new father, I get it, because it's the same thing. I didn't want to have a kid. I'm a terrible human being. Everybody would say...
We had these discussions when our wives were pregnant at the same time.
Everybody would say, "Oh, you're great with kids. You do so good with my kids." I'm like, "Yeah, but I get to give them back to you. I don't have to spend all day with a kid." It's...
Matter of fact, I believe when I told you Carrie was pregnant, you're like, "Really? Well, I have something I have to tell you also."
Yes, we need to talk, apparently, yes. But it's been great. So it's been the best thing that I could ever do. And I don't mean to put the weight of that on a child.
No.
But being dad is so cool.
So there was 2 parts of the show that were not great. One of them is the fact that Jericho was on commentary.
Thank you. I was about ready to say that was one of the worst things of 2021 is Jericho on commentary.
So Jericho...
Except for the end.
Now, if you think that Corey Graves has a hard time remembering whether or not he likes a person or dislikes a person, Jericho has no clue. He will be fighting, we'll just say Orange Cassidy. He was praising Orange Cassidy. Like, I remember fighting this guy. He gave me a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, you hated him.
Jericho, he was like in the weird persona of trying to be
the best guy.
Trying to be Jericho and also trying to be like the radio host. And it wasn't working. Like
there was one benefit.
It was not working.
You were the one benefit from Jericho, and I told Dad this too. You're the best Jericho. The thing about Jericho beyond the thing is, it shut Excalibur up a lot.
The sad thing is, Excalibur was the one covering up all of his gaffes that he was making.
Oh yeah, there's a big one coming up.
Yeah.
So the first match was Private Party with Hardy versus Bucks and Boom Boom. You're going to see this very... Dark Order won all the matches.
Of course.
Yeah. Boom Boom. Or
I have a thing for booking at the end of this I want to talk about, but continue.
Colt Cabana looked great. It was a good match. It was a 2 or 3 star match. Very good, back and forth. Colt, of course, got the win. Many people pulled said yeah, did the jacking up, and then did the clothesline.
Yeah,
which was just fine.
It's a tribute show.
Yeah,
give every match a touch of that man's personality, I guess, and do it.
And then they showed Brodie Lee's son, Brodie Lee -1 in the front row. This will be come back to us later. The really annoying new tag team came out to be jerks. They are I think they're is it Everrise is in NXT or it's
so Everrise is NXT's Young Bucks,
right? Yes, and so basically the new Young Bucks, the ones that rap, they're horrible.
It's not Top Flight, right? It's
Top Flight.
Is it Top Flight?
No, it's the other one.
Okay.
It's the one that they rap. And they're just horrible. They came out. SCU attacked them from behind. Moving on. Darby came out and did a tribute. It was nice. Said he wished he could have wrestled him. The thing about Brodie Lee is no matter what he looked like, the dude had no ego whatsoever. The guy could have came to this place and said, "Hey." I mean, Darby basically said, the guy was like the Undertaker to me, and I was afraid to ask him for, we had a match, and I was afraid, he's like, who do you want to wrestle first? I want to wrestle that guy, and it was Darby, and he's like, me? I'm nobody. He goes, but I want to make you somebody. And so, that was cool.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And, again, what's the old phrase, the good die young? I mean, I think that's going to be the epitaph for this, is the good die young, man.
And then you had Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston, Butcher and the Blade.
Did you see Eddie Kingston's backstage?
No, but I heard it was...
Oh, dear God. You talk about ripping somebody's heart out, man.
Lance Archer was dressed like Luke Harper. Jericho said Luke Harper.
A lot.
He got in trouble for that.
A lot. Real quick, the WWE is not going to sue AEW for Jericho being a dumb fuck and saying the people's names. The reason they cease and desisted the ECW thing for TNA was because they were really trying to get the ECW mantra across, and then WWE was like, no, we own that. You're going to have to do something different.
So I actually have, I read a lot about what WWE's take on all of this was. And you're right. WWE has 0 repercussions for anything that happened.
Yeah. It's an emotional night. People are going to make mistakes.
It was a completely physical match. The ending was, it says, really crazy ending. Need to show Mike. I forgot to do that.
It's all right. He also forgot to tell me the road to his house was closed and I had to take a detour around.
Sinkhole. We talked about all that rain?
Yeah.
The match had this super crazy ending with back and forth. Lance Archer got the huge clothesline, and then after the match, somebody jumped in the ring. And basically Jake Roberts threw a clothesline out there at somebody.
Okay. Jake, I imagine Jake can't do the DDT anymore.
No.
Okay. Which is fine. We're going to talk about legends later.
So one of the things that before the match started, Eddie Kingston comes out. He's like, Brodie, I love you, man. I miss you. And that's all I'm going to say about that shit. And then he had to go back to being bad guy. And apparently he did something. I saw Eddie Kingston backstage. I didn't watch it because...
Yeah, it was... It's heart-wrenching, man. It really is.
Then they did another tribute with all the different wrestlers talking about how great of a dad he was.
They cut some of these clips on the AEW page that I got to see, which was, I mean, it's...
So, yeah. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this.
All right.
So, the next match was John Silver's Alex Rhodes and Hangman Page versus the Inner Circle. Santana, Ortiz, and MJF. Did you see what MJF did.
Which parts? Are you
So-
talking about the ending?
No, I'm talking about in the middle of the match.
Uh,
MJF, the pure heel, yells at Brodie's kids outside the ring, your father was a loser, and then flips him off.
I saw the like minute after that when stuff started happening.
So he was like, he never broke the heel. Your dad was a loser, and then he's like, screw you. And then the match continued. This little John Silver's guy, like, they made this man look like the opposite of, he's the opposite of Keith Lee.
Yeah.
But they made him look as good as Keith Lee.
They gave him so much of this. Yeah. He went full on 800-pound Hulk Hogan gorilla on everything.
Then Wardlow came into the ring.
This is where
probably the best part of the night.
Yeah.
Wardlow came into the ring to help cheat, and then out of nowhere comes Redbeard.
Call him what he's called.
Eric Rowan came out for the save.
Jericho is like a chihuahua because he's like, Eric Rowan! Eric Rowan! Oh my God, it's Eric Rowan! It's Eric Rowan! They were the Bludgeon Brothers in WWE! It's Eric Rowan! And Excalibur's like, that's Redbeard. And Jericho's like, no, it's Eric Rowan! He's like, it's Redbeard. Excalibur was like, I'd like to keep my job.
Jericho's like, I got money, I don't care.
Yeah. Jericho did not care. He called everybody by their WWE names that he probably just, yeah.
Oh, maybe I did see the Eddie Kingston thing. We'll talk about that in a second. So then after that, MJF takes the mask off the kid and starts to spit on him. And then the kid splits him in the head with a kendo stick.
Which, by the way, that kid hit that kendo stick as best as he could, but MJF sold it like he had been hit in the head with just a sledgehammer. And that kid was... Who was the guy in the mask who was in the beside of him?
That was Evil Uno, I think.
Was that... Okay. He kept, like, patting the kid's head and, like, rubbing his head.
Oh,
and stuff
no.
like that.
I know you're... I don't know.
I couldn't pick up who he was because he was always off to the side but in the mask. And I thought it was Excalibur at first until I realized he was on
I
commentary.
believe that
It
was...
makes sense.
I believe that was number 10.
Was that... Okay.
Because he's the guy who's... in the main event, because that was his favorite wrestler.
Him scratching his head like every 30 seconds, that kid was just like, get the fuck off me. It's kind of like what he looked like. He was just like, stop messing with my hair. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they allowed somebody to still be heel, still work on the show, because and this is my booking, because from what I understand, they're going to continue to do stuff with the Leaf,
Yeah.
If I was Tony Khan, you have, and I know this sounds so bad and greedy in a way, as the evil businessman, and I know it sounds mafia how I'm going to say it. I would honestly go to them and say, look, John has passed. We still want you to be in the AEW family because we want to still be a part of the Jon Huber family, and say, look, take time, get your head right, think about this offer, but I want to do stuff with you guys and do stuff with the kids, since obviously COVID's got everything shut down and stuff is really weird right now, and do stuff where it's like, let's take this kid who's interested in, and everybody wants to see something, let's take him and let's do something where, hey, maybe 2 or 3 months down the line, the Inner Circle is just destroying the Dark Order, maybe parts of the Dark Order join the Inner Circle, and then the kid comes out. And hey, the work of the father falls to the son. I'm in charge. I've got everything going right now. I've been running and conducting this the whole time. And you have a really cool thing that you can do.
So you want to... So what you're saying here is... And you don't know, obviously, how things ended. So what you're saying is give the family what Vince did to Vicky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Do that for them if that meant so much to you, and do that. And you have a very rare chance. And like I said, I know it sounds like evil businessmen, but you have a chance to take a kid who's known, who's out there, who's going to carry a weight.
You're going to love the ending.
All right, let's go.
So Eric Rowan came back out with the sign. It's on our Facebook page.
That's where my stuff ended, was him walking around with the sign.
Okay. So then Eddie Kingston, he gave a very emotional tribute, and he was speaking to the kids. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, this was him backstage.
Okay, yeah. He's like, no, this was a backstage one too, but he was like, goes, this is for your kids. This is I want you.
Yes. Okay, so this was it.
Yeah,
yes.
that was extremely emotional tribute. Yes. This is where the show starts to go a little garbage. You got Anna Jay and Conte versus Penelope Ford and Britt Baker. It was a garbage match. I couldn't care less. They did the Chris Jericho tribute. He did a good tribute. And then I wrote main event because I forgot to, I was kind of, with everything else that was going on in the show, I was going to go back and finish, but it was his 3 favorite wrestlers, which was number 10, the guy that was rubbing his head, Cody, and not Darby Allin. It was, I can't believe I don't have the main event for you, but anyway.
It's okay.
The main event was a mixture of people you would never see in the ring. Obviously, the good guys won, as you would expect.
Yes.
The best part of the show is that Kenny Omega was not mentioned or shown on the show at all. And then they did a really good tribute where they showed AEW stuff, WWE stuff, Ring of Honor stuff. They showed pictures with the Wyatt family, him with Renee. There was the picture with him and Big E, because him and reading about the relationship them two had.
Yes. Which is very interesting. I'll talk about when we get to SmackDown. Did you notice that Big E had?
Oh yeah,
but it said Brodie.
Yeah. Not
Luke or John or anything.
No.
It said Brodie across it.
Yeah, that happened on the week before too. And then Cody came back out. He did a tribute. He brought in his son. He brought in his wife. They announced then and there that he has a contract. The kid has a contract.
Okay. He
is contracted for life. When he turns 18, he's going to wrestle for the company as long as they last 18 years. Or 10 more years at this point.
Yes, because he was 12 or something?
Yeah. So he's under contract.
Yeah.
He placed his dad's boots in the middle of the ring, and then he put his jacket on top of it. It was.
And
then
that's rough, man.
And then Tony Khan came out and told him that he is the TNT champion for life. They put the belt on him. He is the TNT champion. They're actually going to retire that belt and design.
John was still.
No, it was.
Was it
Darby?
Oh, Darby. That's right.
Because he got sick.
That's right.
You didn't know that.
Yes, because, initially he went away for the ankle, and then as we found out, that might have been a cover. And as, Cornette and a lot of other people said, and I agree with it, I can't think of a time where you had a guy on the active roster, on the ups, that just
disappeared.
Of a natural,
right.
like something like that.
Yeah.
Drug addiction, car wrecks, accidents, things like that.
You can't even count Eddie Guerrero because Eddie Guerrero's heart stopped because of all the cocaine he had pumped into his system 20 years earlier.
Yes.
For the 20 years prior.
And there's a lot of talk that he might have relapsed at that point too. Because unfortunately, the reason a lot of addicts die is you do a large amount of drugs as you progressively go along to become an addict, and when you fall off the wagon and go back, you think you can do the same amount that you did before, and your body goes, no, you cannot do 5 cc's of heroin anymore. You're dead. So, not to say that is what happened, just that's the rumor mill. That's awesome that they did that. I like it. The
show was so good. And then, a lot of...
Do you think they did too much, though? That was the thing of all the clips that I saw, I was like, all right, and now this guy, and now this guy, and now this guy.
No, because they pushed... So all of the programming that was supposed to happen is getting pushed to next week.
Okay.
And they said, we're going to continue. This is a tribute show that we are pausing. I don't think any of the standings counted because, the standings matter.
Yes.
This is a show to honor his life. That's what this is for, and this is what we're going to do. So,
great.
WWE got a lot of criticism.
So
what? No, hold on.
Go ahead.
why there wasn't even, you put the graphic at the beginning, no video tribute, no tribute. You had a couple of wrestlers do the yeah. You had Brodie armbands by the Xavier Woods
and Big E and a couple other people,
and also what's his face, and then Xavier Woods did the close, which is great.
Yeah,
and then the Scotsman, he did something. But WWE did not do this thing. And when they said to WWE, why didn't you do the thing? WWE's response, whether it is a cover-up or the truth, and I'm going to go ahead and believe it was the truth, even though it's probably not. They said the classiest thing they could respond. They wanted AEW to do it first. It was AEW's star. AEW should not have to go, well, because they had a show first, they got to do the first crack. They wanted to wait for AEW to honor them, then they would honor them. However, I didn't see any honoring on Raw Friday, but I don't think that they did the...
Here's the thing, and I know this is... I don't know if this is going to be unpopular. He didn't work there anymore.
Exactly. This is true.
That's... Pat Patterson still worked there, and Pat Patterson was, what, a 30-plus year tenure of that company?
But it's nice to see that Bray Wyatt didn't come back to life to do
Bray Wyatt did not come back to life and walk out on Raw, which was fine. I mean, none of that is fine. The fact that somebody had to have a serious conversation and say, should the man we just killed come back to life as whatever his fucking name really is and come out and do stuff? I don't know. But no,
and then Vince McMahon was like, "They ain't gonna do that again." No.
He didn't work there.
Yeah.
What else can you do except for the one thing I didn't like was that they specifically put Jon Huber, quotation mark, Luke Harper.
Right.
I think you just should have had Jon Huber and not been like, Jon Huber, our Luke Harper actor.
Well, what if...
Know?
Well,
that was the only thing about the graphic I didn't like.
Vince McMahon doesn't think other people watch other shows.
Oh, we're going to get to that when we talk to our Night of Desperation.
So, Michael...
Yes, sir.
Do you think that NXT realized that there was a tribute show and everyone was going to watch that instead of NXT and put out what they did because of it?
So, with Joseph,